course and also others. I started sharing my screen. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So today we start the virtual worlds design course. I will tell a bit about myself. I already told this on previous course, but for those who are new, so who I am, I'm independent artist. I work with photography and digital art. My last works were with virtual reality. This also corresponds that I'm working as virtual augmented reality developer in Sensorama Lab company. I finished my education in technical university. I learned programming and mathematics. I will show one of my works, spheres, because I think this is a bit connected to virtual worlds design. In this work, you can move between different worlds, different spheres, and all of this was made with free assets. So this will be the example how you can, even if you are not familiar with 3D modeling, you still can create environments and worlds and make experience. So in this course, we will not focus on how to create 3D models and environments. I think you have another courses, or you already are familiar with this, or you even not familiar and you are not a 3D modeler as I am not. But still, you can use other materials, or you can work with other artists. And the idea of this course will be how to place all this stuff, models, sounds, lights, so the whole environment will work good and will be interesting for viewers. So just a quick example. I will show it without sound. So as you can see, we have some photosphere. In each sphere, all this, like the background is just a cube map, so plain texture, and then you have objects with quite simple or more complex materials and quite simple moves, but all of this combining together create quite interesting experience, I think. And during this course, like this work I made in Unreal Engine, and so it's only for VR helmets. But in this course, we will focus also on Mozilla Hubs as one of the tools where you can create environments and share it to viewers via VR headsets or browsers or phones. If you are familiar with this, it's good. If not, it's not a problem. You can also, in this course, I will talk about Mozilla Hubs, and but also this is about how you can, if you're already using other software, how you can create there, and what are the limitations and difference between different platforms where you work in, and also different platforms for which you develop, because like web, mobile, and computer is totally different platforms, and you should think about this before you start developing your environment. So yeah, okay, I think we will finish with this video. Yeah, so now I would like to hear a bit from you. So it will be good if everybody can make a really short introduction where he or she can tell about what main, in which programs you already are working. Are you familiar with Mozilla Hubs? And what is also your main artistic tool you work in as an artist? And maybe you can tell a bit about yourself and what you expect from this course. What maybe you want to make at the end of this course. And I will finish my sharing now, so you can, if you want to show something, you can also share your screen. If you don't want to share this, you can just talk about your experience. So maybe I don't see a lot of participants, but we will start how I see you on my screen. Leonard, can you start?
Oh, hello. Yeah, I can start. My name is Leonard. I live in Berlin, and I'm a multimedia artist. I'm not. I never worked with Mozilla Hubs, so yeah, I would love to know more about it. Don't have any idea. Like in my past, like with digital media, like my work is. I'm familiar with video editing and with video art, with digital photo. I work as a VJ, so I'm familiar with VJ softwares. Back in the days, I worked with some internet radio, but it was long time ago. And like back in like some almost 20 years ago, I was part of. I'm from Riga, so there was really strong new media movement, but it was a long time ago. So now I'm kind of coming back, and would love to see more about this. Yeah, probably that's it.
Do you work in some 3D modeling program like 3D Max?
No.
No, okay.
But of course, like I'm doing a little bit like there is like I know in some VJ software, so I'm familiar with video mapping or things, but like with 3D, like at the moment, I actually I don't feel it's kind of my thing. But yeah, but of course I kind of familiar, and there is different things how you can do things.
Okay, so, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next, Camille.
So hi, nice background, by the way. I like it. So I never worked with Mozilla Hubs either. So I'm a writer, and I worked with a Dutch designer to make videos, like music videos for friends. Also in Blender, I tried a lot with animation. Then I really like to do some photographies as well. I did a bit of coding. So I think what I'm interested in is mostly how you can create spaces for people. I've not done a lot yet, but mostly like lots of videos for friends with music. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, and camera.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Cemre, and I am originally from Turkey, but I'm in Switzerland to study contemporary arts. I am mainly interested in installations. I was interested in making installations, but I got very interested in a virtual space being used as like a real place, if that makes any sense. So I'm still trying out things on virtuality, let's say. And I already did the course with Marco Moderna about 3D modeling, and it was really cool. And I learned something, so I'm actually kind of working on a project right now. Not a big thing, but yeah. So yeah. And what do I expect from this course? I don't know really. I'm just here to see and like take what I can. Yeah.
Okay, great. So next, Alexei. Yasha? Okay, then maybe Pavel.
Hello, I am Pavlo. I'm from Kiev. I work like a graphical designer and marketing manager. So now I interested in new media, and I want to develop myself like visual artist. That's why I am interested in Mozilla Hub, like a platform for visual installation in new way. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think all except Alexei introduced himself.
Maybe I can also say
Yeah.
about me. So I'm Matteo, and I'm a choreographer and a transdisciplinary artist, and I live in Berlin. And specifically in terms of new media, I have experience with dance and new technologies. I've been doing some workshops and also like working with sensors and other platforms. In regards to movement, I was never really able to find an entrance into technology world. But recently I've been more interested in like the possibility of the digital space and how this can create an experience for the spectator. And so I started, like I looked into Mozilla Hubs, and I have been fascinated by Mozilla Hubs as a encountering space. And at the same time, I saw the limitations of Mozilla Hubs in terms of what you can create with it and what you can actually do in Mozilla Hub. So yeah, so I'm for sure I look forward to like understand more what Mozilla Hub can do or cannot do. And at the same time, I'm really curious to expand my imaginary around virtual worlds and what kind of experiences can be created, not so much for like what can technology do, but more like what can be provided to the spectator, like ultimately as an experience. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. I also see Christina joined us. Christina, can you unmute yourself and make a small introduction?
I don't understand what I must say.
Okay, just say a bit about yourself. What is your medium you work with? Also, if you are familiar with some 3D software like Blender, 3D Max or not, it's just important to me to understand how you are planning to work during the course. And are you familiar with Mozilla Hubs or not? And what do you expect from the course?
I try do my idea on the Blender, but I don't try do in the Mozilla Hubs. I don't know what can I do this.
Okay.
Yes.
I would also want to tell about my experience, because I'm working with virtual environments, and if I could be helpful in the process of workshop, if you participants will have any also questions about maybe some specific things and Irina will not have time, I could also jump in and help with it, because yeah, for some time I'm already working with these virtual environments of different kinds. I will just show a few. Can somebody tell if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so stuff like this, or like this, or like this. So 3D modeling in Blender and then publishing in Mozilla Hubs. I do have some experience and also know the limitation of the platform. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so thank you all. So I will continue with sharing my presentation. Do you see the presentation? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. So today we have the first session, and we will talk about materials, which we can use to make a 3D environment. By materials, I mean not only like materials, textures, but like resources or tools which you can combine for this environment. We will talk about limitations on different platforms. We will focus a bit on Mozilla Hubs. And today the main topic will be forms and light. So on each session, we will talk about some basic sides of creating an environment. Of course, like 5 sessions is not very many, not very much time. So I will add some resources that you can watch or read if you want to go deeper to some topics. I will start also about also we will talk about this, for example, forms and lights, but how you can learn about this environment, from what you can start. First of all, you need to know, so you can learn compositions or some techniques that are used in game design or in architecture or even in paintings, and you can use them. But one of the most important parts is how many of examples you already seen. So this is a good practice, just like to train your eyes and go to a museum or find some books with famous artworks. It could be even, as I said, it can be even paintings. So it's not a 3D, but still it has compositions, it has forms, colors. You can analyze this, or you can just practice your eyes, and if you will have experience from this. Also, if you just, for example, play games, you will have experience how these game designers are making the games, and when you will make your own environment, you will, of course, you should think about some stuff at the start, but with the time it will be just a matter of your intuition, because intuition, it's about your experience. So you will make you will think more about your ideas, and you will make these environments more automatically, not in a bad way automatically, but more with intuition. You will feel these, for example, forms, which we will talk today. With the time, it will be easier to you to find and see these forms. So let's now go back for our first point about materials which you can use to make a 3D environment. So of course, the most important will be models. So models, it's also can be called like 3D model or a mesh, and it has a poly count, and this is very important. So what is polygon? You can see like these triangles, they combine together and they make this form. So low poly, you can see it has angles, and high poly is smoother. And you can see easily that in mobile games, it's more like low poly, and this is not just like the question of style, but this is also because high poly is more complex. So mobile and web and also Mozilla Hubs has its limitations for total polygon count in your scene. Also, you can find information like Mozilla Hubs has limitations for how many people can enter your room. So if it will be a lot of people in your room, and for example, they will enter it from a mobile devices, and you have a lot of high poly models, FPS, like frames per second, just will go lower. And what does it mean? That like the render, the image will stop a bit and won't be smooth. It won't be beautiful. So this is one of the most important parts of 3D. You should think, or what is your target devices? And even if Mozilla Hubs, if you are targeting only people on web, so maybe you just know that you will show it on some exhibition, or you will put it on your site and say that please enter this room only from like computer and web. You can use like more high poly models. But if you want to target wider audience, you should think that a lot of people will just use mobile phones. So you should be really careful about polygons. Some softwares, so I will talk not only about Mozilla Hubs. So for example, like Unreal Engine, you can also automatically, you have high poly model, and you have automatically lower these polygon counts. You can also do it in the 3D programs like Blender or 3D Max or Maya. By the way, you can work in these programs, and then you can export the models or the scenes you made there in Mozilla Hubs. So and yeah, so these models meshes, what they are also different. Like they are static mesh. So static mesh is the simplest mesh. It doesn't move. You can't make some changes to it. You can scale it, you can rotate it, but it doesn't have any movement. And then we have rigged meshes. So it has a skeleton. The simplest will be like humanoid, but it could be like animals, or it can be plants, whatever you can imagine. And what does it mean? That if you have rig, then you can make animations. Animations, they can be also made in 3D programs or special programs for animations. They can be downloaded from web, or they can be made in like Unreal Engine or Unity. And this means that you move the bone, and then the mesh will change also. And also morphs. So morphs, it's like the shape of your mesh. You can see here that when you change morph, the smile on your face is changing. So the morphs, they're not like they're not bones. They are like this grid on the mesh, and so you can again make some adjustments how the mesh will look like it can be also used for animations, for example, for facial animation. But again, rigged skeletons and morphs and animations, they are a bit complex. So again, if you're developing for mobile devices, you have limitations to these complex forms. You can't just put really, if you put high poly model rigged with a lot of bones and a lot of morphs, it just can crash. So not only FPS can go down, the whole application can just crash. So you should test it, and when you're developing for low-end devices, don't think about making all at the time. Don't think about so you just have these limitations with the complexity, and you just can't have like hundreds of skeleton peoples in your scene. And you should think about it at the beginning of your project, because if you will, it is quite hard if you add a lot of these elements, and then in the end you have problems with your environment, and you won't understand what exactly was the problem. So maybe a lot of polygons, maybe skeletons, maybe morphs, and you will need to cut it all. So it's better to add it at the start and test it. And if you have some problem at some point, so maybe just cut off some elements. So next we have a model. How it will look like? Why it's okay? Here it has color, but you can add a material to your model. And one of the most interesting parts I found myself when I started my experience with 3D, like that it's physically based materials, PBR materials. What does it mean? Material, it's not only color or texture. Material can also has roughness, metallic, and specular. I will show you a small example. I will use Unreal Engine just because this is the program I'm most familiar with, and it will be easier for me to show it there. But you also can find this in other programs, and you can see this in Mozilla Hubs. Also, you can't adjust it there, but you can see all this also in materials in Mozilla Hubs. So yeah, so this will be a simple material. We have a color, and we have these values like material, metallics, specular, and roughness. And here we have like 0, 0, 0. So you can see how the material looks like. And then when we change some of these, okay, let's start with this. So if we, what is metallic? Metallic is just the names of these values. They came from life. So metallic just means how metallic your material will look like, or how rough it will be. And also specular. So you can see here that also like mesh has you just add this material to the mesh, and then the visuals, how this mesh will look like when the light comes to it, it's based on these values, and this material will work as the natural material in our life. Of course, materials can be a bit complex. Yeah, so you can see like it can have not only these nodes, but a lot of like additional textures and additional like more complex functions, how they combine these nodes. But for this point, it's not very important. It's just for you to know of these possibilities. Maybe if you're interested in, you can find more about how to make complex materials in programs you are working in, and then export it. Yeah, so if we will go to for example, in Mozilla Hubs, I will just add some simple ready element. Yeah, so here in GLTF info, you can see also these maps. So these maps are, so this is color. This I'm not sure. It's I think this is like this PBR map. So in this image, it's in different channels. It is combined this metallic value, specular value, and so based on this map, your model will have these physical values, and based on this value, this map, it will change its visualizations based on the light that comes to it. The next important map, so these physical base materials can be put in one map. And the next one is normal map. This is very useful when you need some relief or some more complex structure of your mesh. So you can see on the left, you want to have these rocks. But one of the way is just to make it really high poly, so you have all these rocks will be like very detailed polygon model. But of course, this will be very expensive for your game or in your environment. So what you should do, the model itself is low poly. It's quite smooth. But then the normal map, it's usually looks like this, like quite beautiful. And based on these values, it will reflect the light. So it will have the illusion of this relief you can see on the left. So it's a low poly model, but with the normal map that gives you this result.
Darina, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So if I understand correctly, the rocks, if you could go back to the slide with the...
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. So the one to the left is in poly model, is in a low poly?
Yeah, this is it.
But because of this color mapping, it becomes like that?
Yes, yes. So this is actually the model on the left with the color, but without normal map. So just like this.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you add this normal map, it will reflect the light like in the real life. So
so this normal map, the one to the right, is done with these values of opacity and specularity.
No. Normal map it's actually I will show you it in Unreal, just make it simpler. So normal map is just a square, a texture. Yeah. So it's you can in a 3D program you can have this visualization of normal map, but then in the end you will I forget this word. You can just this is just a texture, like a square texture, and then you combine your mesh and this texture.
It's baking, maybe.
No, it's not baking. No.
Okay.
It's not baking. Like normal maps can be used without baking. Like we'll talk about baking a little bit later. It's more about baking. It's more about shadows. Normal maps, it's about reflection of the light and making the illusion of relief. So you can see it can be used like here. You can. This is actually just a sphere, but because of actually in this model there are three. You can see this blue. These textures. So based on this normal map, you have this relief. And based on this normal map, you have these small reliefs. And it just when you rotate it, you can see. So the program combines that in normal map, for example, here she has like pink, and here she has blue. So it knows then in these pixels, it should reflect or positive, like don't reflect this light, and this gives these illusions of the material. It can be used also like for simple, like even for materials like gold. Yeah, so you have in this material you have some metallic value. You have base color, which is made by color and some extra textures. So these textures is just this like dirt. And then again, this normal map. And you can see like these small parts. This is again the illusion of more complex structure of the object or of the color. Yeah, and in Mozilla Hubs again, where's my Mozilla Hubs? Yeah, you can see. So here is a PPR map, and here's this normal map. And this is again, you can see like here. It's this again. This is just a simple texture, but with a normal map, this gives you the illusion of these squares. And when we are talking about textures, one of the most important things are size. And this is one of the mistakes I see a lot when I work with designers or new artists. It's very important in which size you are making the textures for your model. You can make it in whatever size you want, but this is bad because you should use only, it should, the best if it's square and the dimensions are in the power of 2. So for example, 1024. So of course, if the dimensions of the texture is higher, it can has more details, but the higher textures are, the harder for your devices it will be to show these textures. For example, mobile devices, Androids, I think the maximum size of textures currently is 4096. So if you put the larger, it will be just scaled down. If you put really small textures, of course, it will have pixels and won't be so beautiful. So you should find the balance, how large textures you can use for your environment, and how much details you want to this. Why you should use these numbers, like power of 2. This is because of aliasing and mip mapping. What does it mean? Aliasing is, you can see it over here. So in these examples, this texture wasn't in power of 2, and it has no mip maps. And you can see over here that it looks not very good. Like it has this very bad visualizations, like the computers. Why it's happening? The computer, your graphic driver, your graphic card, it doesn't know what. So here you have a lot of pixels, but here you have a lot of you have here a lot of pixels in the map, but also on your screen. But over here, the number of your textures, there's more textures than here, so more pixels. But on your screen, the number of pixels is lower, and your graphic card needs to understand what pixel to show, like left to right. Like it has like, for example, 10 pixels, and it needs to choose only one to show, and it starts showing different pixels and like flipping them. So when you see it, you can see this like strobing effect and quite a bad. You can see like patterns here. And what is going on the right part? It's smoother and it looks like in real life. Yes, of course you don't see details over here, but like in real life you also don't see these details, and nothing interrupts you. What is here? How this is made? It is made automatically with MIP maps. What is MIP maps? So you have a texture like this. For example, it is 1024 pixels. So MIP map, computer will make MIP maps. It means that it will divide your original size of the texture by 2. So the next texture will be 5012, and next like 256, and lower. It will make it automatically. You don't need to make this by yourself. You just need to make the original texture in the right size, and it will make this automatically. And like you make in Photoshop, it will use some algorithm to make it look smoother. And then when you have this situation, like textures far away, it will change your original texture with some of these lower dimensional textures. Again, it will make it automatically. You don't need to think about this. But because of this, so here you have your high dimensional textures, and here you will have automatically generated low dimensional textures, and they will be bluer, more blur, and it will be easier to computer won't have this aliasing effect and these like dots. It will just use these smaller textures, and the whole image will be smoother. And even you can see in Mozilla Hubs, all these images are for thousands. And this is again because in Mozilla Hubs it's also like when you go far away, if this model had not these dimensionals, but some like 3025, it will have this strobing effect. And here you can see also like this is all about how we see the textures far away.
Can I ask you one thing, Darina?
Yes.
So I was facing the issue when it's no, maybe not an issue, but the thing is I'm saving my textures when it's like one side is the number that can be divided by 2, but the other side is like a different number. Like, will it work this way, or
No.
Okay.
No, they could be not squares, so you can have one side like 2000 and another like 32, but it's okay. They have not same dimensions, but they should be all the power of 2.
Got it.
Yeah. So in your case, if you need this texture, you can add like alpha channel, like transparent parts to your texture.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay.